back to the channel and welcome to another video of the budget FG2 Si track build. That's kind of a mouthful to get out. So my girlfriend helped me pick out a name for this car and we are gonna call it Reba.
Reba? Shh! What the hell's the matter with you, man? And you're out there plowing the back 40 with Reba!
I think that's a lot easier to say, so. Project Reba. The plans for today are we gotta get the old steering rack out because it doesn't like to turn left. I've already taken the steering rack out of the orange car here, so it's ready to be swapped in. I would also like to check out the clutch fork and spring on the motor we're putting in this car. If you guys watched the previous episode, you'll remember I noticed that it had quite a bit of play in it, so I would like to just look into that. If I don't have to replace it, I would prefer not to. Being a budget build, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of fixing things that aren't broken, because that's, I'm a firm believer in maintenance, but it's a slippery slope, you know. When you're here, we'll just do this, we'll just do this, we'll just do this, and very, very quickly things run out of budget. So if that clutch fork is bad, I do have the one that is from this car originally. It's in okay shape, so I can use that. Worst case Ontario. Yeah, as you can see, I already have the seat out of the car. I didn't just do that for dramatic effect. I have the spine of a 90-year-old, so with the seat out, it'll make it easier for me to lay under there and disconnect the steering column from the rack. And then we can get to dropping the subframe and pulling the rack out. We'll probably do that first. And then we'll start working on the motor. I'm gonna go ahead and say by the end of this episode, there will be a new motor and transmission in this car. So I think that's enough chit chat. That's all I do. Let's get to work. Something else I wanted to mention was I started prepping the parts from the orange car and the red car for that matter to sell. I took the harness off this engine, I took the tranny off, starter, alternator, that type of stuff. So it's a long block with an RBC. I posted, well, before I posted that for sale, let me make a short story long by saying I'm not a social media guy. I don't have Instagram, I don't have the Snapchats, I don't have the Facebooks. All I have is YouTube. But we all know that Marketplace is kind of the best place to sell things these days. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just get Facebook. I'll sell the stuff I need to sell and then I'll delete it. So made a Facebook account last night, posted the orange Civic for part out, posted the motor, a few other miscellaneous things, and it was all good. Started getting some messages on people interested in things, and then I wake up this morning and I'm locked out of my account. Facebook's like, nah, we think you're a bot, so you can't do stuff. Basically, I have to prove to them it's me, which is dumb. And yeah, I can't log back in, no one can see my ad, so therefore I'm not selling things. So, you, Facebook. Anywho, if you are in BC and you need SI parts, or if you know of someone who needs SI parts, hit me up. Anywho, on with the build. Now it came out like butter. That one ain't a 19. Alright, I'm just going to take this one subframe bolt out because it's staring me right in the face, and then we'll, I don't know, we'll do the next step next. Inner tie rods and whatnot are in good shape. On this car you can see they actually hold themselves up. I know the ones on the other rack are a lot more tired, but at least the rack functions, so eventually I might swap those over. Yeah. Might find the issue with this rack. Watch as I turn this clockwise, counterclockwise. I don't think that's in the tie rod. The whole thing is going. If it is in the tie rod, that's crazy because you can tell they're not that old, so maybe they're installed incorrectly. Let's see if this side does the same thing. And this side does the same thing. Either those tie rods are installed wrong or that rack has some major issues. Tell me you own an 8th gen without telling me you own an 8th gen. So irritating. Oh, whoops. Whoops. Okay, let's crawl in there. Wait, I have another tell me you own an 8th gen without telling me you own an 8th gen moment. Let me just put on my e-brake. Oh, shoot. Shoot. What am I gonna do? Okay, for reals, let's crawl onto here on our bellies. I think it's a 10 mil bolts, a plastic cover, and then we just got to release the steering column from the rack. And you want to make sure you keep your wheel centered and your rack centered so that when you put it back together, it's as close to being aligned as possible. Obviously, this car will get aligned anyways. The other thing is when your steering rack is disconnected, you don't want to spin your wheel in your car because it can damage your clock spring. Like, it's fine to move a touch, but you don't want to go too many revolutions because it'll damage things internally. So yeah, let's do it. Oh yeah, get in there. Okay. So the little black plastic thing is just pushed to clip on, so that just comes off of there. Oh, our boot is installed incorrectly? Who'd have thunk that? Not me. Okay, let's see if I can get the ratchet in here. I think I might actually, yeah, I'm gonna have to turn the steering column to a point that I can access the bolt. Once I loosen the bolt, we'll put it back to center before we remove it from the rack. Oh boy, it's not easy. Gosh, I'm a ball of guns trying to do this. Let's try the bigger ratchet. Mechanical advantage. Oh, that was way easier. It's comfy down here. I might just take a nap after I get this out. Oh, just kidding. It's one of those bolts where it goes too easy for the ratchet and then you switch to hand and then it's too hard to turn by hand. Well, you just love when that happens. It's my favorite. Okay. Out. So now we want to recenter our wheel like so. And then the steering column has like a slip joint on it, so you can just pull it up, or at least in theory you can just pull it up. Yeah, in theory you just pull it up. It's really easy. It's not a problem at all. You just pull it up. And it doesn't work at all. So then you get out, you go get a pry bar. Yeah. Careful not to door ding the car next to you when you get out. Oh, whoops.
Got the problem solver. Oh, sheesh. Solve my problems, come on. Crowbar's like, not even I can solve your problems, man. What are you, how come you're fighting? What's the matter? What, did someone hurt you in a past life? Do you have emotional damage? Aha, we're free. All right. Okay. All right. Whew. That was easy. Nothing to it. I'm just breathing hard because I'm excited. Okay, let's hop in the engine bay, undo all the rack bolts, and pull that sucker out of there. Okay, that was a bit of a struggle bus, but the rack is free as a bird now, and all we gotta do is, I already took the two side subframe bolts out, so we gotta loosen the front bolts, take the rear bolts right out, swing the subframe down, and we'll just scooch it right out of there. And then holy crapola. Wow. Unreal. Why so brutal? That was excessively tight. That's one ain't good either. Unreal. Holy crap. Whew. Jeez Louise. I think everything's happy, we just gotta bolt her down. Alright, I'm not gonna bore you guys with bolting it down. I'll just do it and I'll get back to you. Peace. Alright, 642 days later. It's another day in the shop. Since we last left off, I have done a few things to the car. Not really, I've done like one thing to the car. I finished
bolting in the steering rack, so that's all mounted solidly. We're hooked up to the spindles again. We're hooked up to the steering rack, so everything functions again. And I took the busted ass rack out of that car, put it back in the orange car, and everything is kind of snugged up. I didn't like go crazy reinstalling it, but it's good enough so that I can steer it and I can move it around my yard to get it out of my way, because it's a real pain to move a car when you can't steer it. So, with that being said, let's dig back into this thing. We've got a bunch of things to prep before the Engina can go back in. We've got to work on the exhaust manifold. We've got to fix the clutch fork. We've got to clean the engine bay, potentially change the shift cables. We got a multitude of things that need to happen. I think I might start by cleaning the engine bay. So most people will think we'll probably clean the engine bay because, you know, it's a nice car. We want to keep it nice. No, it's not a nice car. And I don't want to clean it to make it look good. What we're doing here is a few things. If it's clean in the future, it helps with diagnosing, like if you have a oil leak or something. If everything's clean, it's easy to source that type of stuff, like where's it coming from. And the other reason we're gonna clean it is weight reduction, yo. Look at all that dirt. That's like a few ounces down there. So, yeah, we're gonna get rid of all that dirt. Give it a mild clean, not going crazy. Obviously it's cold outside, I'm not pressure washing or anything. I'm just gonna give it like a brush down with the broom. I got some super purple, some other brushes, some random rags, and we'll just do what we can do. So let's dive into it. First tool anyone should have in the detailing closet, a broom. Oh yeah, look at that. Basically restored, just like that. Okay, she's basically SEMA ready now. You can see, got the shine on it. Look at that. And we easily reduced the weight by 13 ounces, give or take an ounce. So I'd call that successful. Let's do the engine next. All right, I'm gonna look into the plausibility of changing the clutch fork without removing the transmission, because I'm lazy. Comes with age. You'll get there. Worst case Ontario, if I mess it up, I have to pull the tranny out. What do we see? Well, virtually nothing. Need a light. So the strange thing I'm seeing here is the throw bearing doesn't seem to have ears for the clutch fork, and that's where most of this play is there's no ears on it. Now, are they designed like that, or is that just this one? Because most of the B or D series I've ever done have ears on the throwout bearing. I'm gonna have to go to the Googleizer machine and see what's going on here. Alright, I consulted the internet. And we know the internet never, ever lies. In this case, I don't think it is lying. But I think I was correct. If you look there at number 1, see how it's got ears on the release bearing? I'm pretty sure mine doesn't have ears, you know? It's like the alternate universe for Dumbo. No ears. It's like Gollum. Does Gollum have ears? It's got no ears. So I guess lazy me doesn't get to be lazy. I'm gonna pull this tranny off, have a look, see, and then if it needs a release bearing, we're gonna have to order one or go buy one or something, because can't be putting that together without that. So I'm rambling. Let's just, through the magic of cinema, take this transmission off. Okay, trans is off the motor, and I have conclusive evidence of some fuckery. So, for one, someone has been here before. This bolt here, as you can see, someone's written on it, starter bottom. So that's for the bottom starter bolt. Yeah, that's not where it was. It was in the back bell housing bolt near the rear half shaft. Granted, it's the same bolt, but why label it if you're not gonna put it back where you found it? Okay. So, we know someone's been here before. And if we look in here, look at all this chewed up, all these shiny spots of chewed up, chunked up metal. If you go to the transmission, same thing. In here we got all these little shiny spots all around the case. Like there was a chunk of metal bouncing around in there at 16 million RPM. So then we go to what I think is the culprit. Our clutch release bearing. Notice how it has an ear on that side. Uh-oh, no ear on that side. Totally and completely busted off. So, that is trash. And that would explain why our clutch fork was doing that. However, the car shifted and drove remarkably well, considering that was messed up and it had a broken motor mount. Still drove good. So, yes. Oh yeah, look at that chunk out of right there. Anywho, I have the dilemma now of, do I just buy a release bearing? Throw that in the car, call it good? Do I buy a clutch kit? If I buy a clutch kit, I gotta get my flywheel resurfaced. Slippery slope. Ideally, I'd like to pull the clutch off, have a look and see what the wear is on it, and go from there, make my decision. But I don't have a K series clutch tool. I have a B and a D series, and I've never done a K, so I don't have the appropriate tool. I mean, I'll try one of those and see if they fit, but I think the pilot bearing is significantly larger on the K, so I don't think it's the same. Anywho, I got some deciding to do. What would you do? You'd probably just buy a new clutch. That's what most people would do. Problem is I'm poor, so how cheap do I want to be? I don't know. Decision made. I'm gonna go the cheap route. I had a better look at that clutch. It isn't an Exetti. I don't know how many miles are on it. There's not a lot of dust around it. There's not a lot of dust in the transmission case. It did bite and drive well when I drove it, so I'm going to trust that it's okay. And I'm going to order this kit right here, which is an Exetti release bearing and a alignment tool. So when I get that, I will have an alignment tool. So I will be able to pop that clutch off, confirm to myself that it's good. Hopefully it is, and hopefully going the cheap route pays off. It doesn't always. But that's the goal. Hopefully it'll be okay. And yeah, obviously we can't continue on with that today, so I don't know. I guess we'll work on something else. I have a few other things to prep, so let's do something. Since I'm procrastinating working on engine stuff, decided to throw this fender back on to make her look worse. Got it all bolted up here, and because of the, you know, the dent and the dent down there, she fits good. Prepare to see a master at his craft. Oh yeah. GoPro suction cup. Bent fender. When you got nothing to lose. So let's see what happens here. Woo. Woo. Oh, that's basically restored. Oh yeah. That's essentially brand new, actually. It ain't worse. Obviously, we've still got a crease along the body line here, but the main bigger-ish dent is kind of outish. It's at least 3% more presentable. Alright, I hereby declare that mint. Okay, at this point in the video, I know it's probably getting longer, and I made a promise at the beginning that I would have the engine in by the end of this episode, but we've had a few issues. So, I know it's like the most unsatisfying thing when an itch isn't scratched, or, you know, when there's a cliffhanger, or it just cuts to...
It's not a game, it's a